Hello, friends, and welcome back to 7-Minute Sermons on Living Room Church, Michiana. Let's get our timer started, and away we go. This is our Loving First pathway, and it is based on the Fresh Expressions journey. So I want to give credit where credit is due. This will become a series of videos, not just a 7-minute sermon that I think you can refer back to as we're looking at this. But this is a wonderful app called Godsend, and you can explore these in a little more detail. But we've only got 7 minutes to discuss this, so away we go. The second step, and remember that these tend to pile up on each other. You continue to listen to God and others is the first step. And then the second step is to love. Discover a simple way to love and serve the people around you. Again, I believe that God is calling us to start new Christian communities as a gift back to the church, and also calling us to think about discipleship differently in the church. The Loving First discipleship pathway is a little bit different. It's an outside-in approach. We're looking to suggest that you grab some friends to, here's the overall process. First of all, to listen and to ask God to reveal a need or hope where you live, where you work, where you go to school or play or spend your time. Secondly, and that's what we're discussing today, is finding a simple way to love and serve those needs with hope. Third is to build community in the process. As you're loving and serving, you are building relationships, you are building community. Fourth is to invite those interested to explore discipleship by talking about life and faith and Jesus. Maybe this is as a bonus to the way that you're loving and serving. Hey, would you like to stay after? We're going to talk about a Jesus story together, or we're going to have a prayer together, and you're more than welcome to be part of this. And then fifthly, we encourage Christian community. We begin to see church take shape around those coming to Jesus. And I'm convinced over and over again what's required for it to be considered church. It's not a sermon. It's not music. It's not a lot of things that we call church. It's Jesus and the people Jesus loves. That's church. So sometimes I think we overcomplicate it with a lot of different things. So let's talk about this love and serve. Love and serve while continuing to listen is also the key. As you listen to God and people in the community, you are hopefully finding simple ways to love and serve them. This is what we mean when we think about Matthew 25, where the people say, "Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you a drink? And when did we see you a stranger and welcome you, or naked and clothe you? And when did we see you sick or in prison and visit you?" Jesus is saying, when you do these things, you are doing them for me. And it's really interesting here in this passage that the people who were doing these things, feeding the hungry, giving people who are thirsty something to drink, giving people clothing, visiting people in prison or those who are sick, they were oblivious to the fact that they were doing anything special. What do you mean? How is it that when we were doing these things, we were doing them for you? And isn't that an interesting shift? This is one of the greatest joys as a pastor, is to see people shift from serving because, wow, it makes me feel good, or wow, look what I got to do, to a less maybe self-centered approach to say, wow, this is just a part of who I am. I love and serve because that's how God created me. And I think that's how God created each of us, to make a difference somehow in this world. So how do we continue loving and serving while continuing to listen to God and others? Again, these pile up on each other. One approach is to facilitate opportunities to hang out. People are longing for relationships. So what could you do to just create opportunities for people to hang out? That's a way to love people, whether it's in a restaurant or a coffee shop or even a brewery, those types of things. Another approach is to love and serve people on the edge of society. I'll say the other side of the brewery idea is to serve those who are in recovery, those who are experiencing, what do they call it, hurts, habits, and hang-ups. Those in our communities who are experiencing homelessness or hunger, those very things that Jesus talked about. Those on the margins of society, how can we connect with them? In a related way, another approach is to start groups that are interested in social justice and environmental justice. Again, the sky is the limit to build and connect relationships on these places. So we connect with people at work and at school with simple acts of service. One of the easiest ways to do this is giveaways. Give away water on a walking or hiking trail, to take cookies to neighbors or to teachers at schools. Again, the sky is the limit. As we talked about the last time, begin to brainstorm and think about different ways to do this. So innovation is the key here. Whether small or big, innovation involves these overlapping steps that I'll also share in addition to the steps we're talking about. First of all, there's holy discontent. Starting something new often means that we're dissatisfied with the status quo. There has got to be something more to this life of following Jesus, something more in this everyday life of following Jesus, of seeking to love God and to love neighbor more fully. Secondly is exploration. Keep exploring, keep experimenting. The fastest way to learn is through experimentation. New Christian communities emerge through trial and error, as we talked about last time. Get comfortable with the error part. I've already messed up several times in exploring this myself. And then third is storytelling. Storytelling is incredible. We talk about Jesus stories, or we will in a future session, but tell the stories about what God is doing. Capture people's imaginations. In other words, in a more multicultural world, we could say for many years we supported overseas missions as a church, and now the overseas is right on our doorstep because we have people all around us from different nations. Imagine that. Jesus said, "Go and make disciples of all nations," and now people from different nations are often on our doorstep. Our mission field, as I like to say, is as close as our own neighborhoods. Fourth is amplification. And there's our time. I'm almost finished here, just two more. Amplification. When stories grab your imagination, they spread and motivate others to get involved. So amplify it. It helps create momentum. Tell the story by word of mouth. Continue to spread the story. This is why Jesus told stories and why they are still remembered. Develop compelling stories and shout them from the rooftops. And then finally, have some openness to continue the innovation. Oddly, new ways can also become old ways, the way we've always done it, even if you've only done it for a year or so. So balance the order of things, but also the change. Too much order and we get stuck. Too much change and it gets chaotic. Find a healthy balance. So I hope this was helpful to you, and I'll see you next time. God bless.